Hey everybody, how you doing? This is Dan Blanchard with the Travel in Time Show with Dan, and I am in the beautiful state of Maine today at Portland, Maine. Over here at the world famous Head Light Lighthouse. Over here in Portland, Maine at the Cape Elizabeth and the Fort Williams. This is the most photographed lighthouse in the United States and the oldest lighthouse in Maine, in this great state of Maine. Okay, there's a great story here. For instance, did you know that over the last 200 years, 65 lighthouses have protected us humans from the rugged, dangerous coastline of Maine? That's right. And there's about 6 or so of these lighthouses right here in Portland, Maine. This one, the Headlight Watchhouse at Cape Elizabeth, Fort Williams Park, being the most famous one. This one was commissioned in 1787 by George Washington for just $750. That's right, you heard it right. This is just $750 when Maine was still part of Massachusetts. Later on, more money will be kicked in, obviously, but that's how they got started. $750, okay? Pretty amazing, right? It's going to be done in 1791. Construction will be finished. Of course, there'll be more construction later, updates later. But the construction will be done in 1791. And in 1793, the first lighthouse keeper, which was a Revolutionary War soldier, will say, hey, I can't afford just to live here for just rent only. You got to pay me some money. I can't afford to live here if you don't pay me some money. So they paid him $160 a year to live here in 1793. Now, going forward in World War II, this lighthouse was blacked out for 3 years. The Portland Harbor was the closest harbor to Europe during World War II, so they had to turn this light off. Okay, and this light in the beginning, it was being lit up by 16 whale oil lamps. Of course, that's going to change, right? All right, so now let's jump forward to 1989. 1989, they decide, hey, you know what? Let's do like a bicentennial 200-year thing, and they're going to automate this. It's going to be, the lighthouse keepers, the Coast Guard, not going to really need them so much anymore. This is going to be automated and turned into a museum, which is open to the public, I think one day a year in September, called Maine Open Lighthouse Day. This park is open to come through this park anytime you want, but if you want to go inside the lighthouse, it's just that one day a year in September, okay? And this lighthouse was on the postcard of the opening credits of National Lampoon's Vacation with Chevy Chase. Great, fun travel movie if you like to get some laughs on travel and adventures. All right, so moving forward, if we go into and talk a little bit about Portland. Portland's called the Forest City, and it's the most populated city in Maine. And inside Portland, they've got some amazing things. They've got the old port with its cobblestone streets, which is really cool. They got the Victorian mansions, the old historic hotel. They got a spooky cemetery. They've got the Observatory, which looks lighthouse-like. And of course, Longfellow, the famous Longfellow, lived in Portland, Maine, and he wrote his poem called The Lighthouse, based on this. And let's not forget the great donut shop, the Holy Donut they got in there, where they make it with potato to make it a sturdier, heartier donut, all sorts of cool flavors. I had recently a bacon maple donut from there, and it was great. So many cool things. Market over there, so many cool things in Portland to see, and what a great history here in Portland and this lighthouse, the Headlight Lighthouse. So what's the leadership lesson here? Well, I would say the leadership lesson is definitely resiliency. Hey, guess what, guys? In Maine, it's cold in the winter, right? And these people are so resilient. And just look at the dangerous, rocky coastline here that has taken a lot of ships. You got to be resilient to live here. What some people may not know was that during the American Revolutionary War was 1775, the British actually burned Portland to the ground. And in the War of 1812, same thing, they rebuilt. And after the Civil War, 1866, there's another fire that pretty much levels Portland, but they rebuild. They're so resilient. They just rebuild. And in the 1850s, when they didn't like the way this country was going, they were instrumental Maine was very instrumental on getting the Republican Party off the ground and getting Abraham Lincoln elected to the office of presidency of the United States. These are some resilient people, some great leaders that take matters into their own hands and do what they got to do. Pretty impressive. So listen, I don't know where I'm going to be next, my next episode, wherever it's going to be, you know it's going to be great. I appreciate you watching me and spending some time with me on my Travel in Time with Dan show, where I mix travel with history and with leadership lessons, and of course for me, Dan Blanchard. Y'all take care, and I'll be back real soon.